Certainly anybody who grew up here is a Mariner fan. One of the cool parts of this job is getting to occasionally communicate with Jay Buhner, who is just as unique a human as you're ever going to find. And he is here with us now. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
What's up? Top of the morning, boys.
How about these Mariners? Jay, they're 18-12. How?
Small ball, baby. Doing the little things. Get them over, get them in, steal a bag. Even Big Cal's got 4 bags. You know, when you get guys on the base paths, you put pressure on the pitcher, and you know what? They've been getting some timely hitting. That's what's been missing. You know, those sneaky one-run games are already starting to give Dan Wilson gray hair already. But last few have been pretty nice. That 7th inning lightning, baby. That was pretty special last night, and they're doing it from the bottom of the lineup. So it's good to see, and some of the big boys are going to have to step up because this is a mash unit, man. Good grief. Next man up, I guess, a little bit like the old days with Richie Amaral and Doug Strange and Alex Diaz back in the mid-'90s, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, let me ask you about that. I'm a little curious about it because clearly, yes, they've had all kinds of injuries and that next guy up mentality, they've pretty much had to. But when you're on a team and you start seeing guys around you drop like that, what does it do to your mentality and the remaining guys who are there? Because it sure feels as if this team has almost like taken those as challenges and then risen to meet those challenges.
Yes, so far so good. You're right. But, that's what you work so hard for. The amount of people that get a chance to sign professionally in Major League Baseball, let alone get a chance to play in the big league. So when you do get your opportunity, they've always said it, hey, man, take advantage of your opportunity. And a lot of these kids, like Leo last night, just getting up and putting the ball in play, he knows his role. Listen to his interview. It's so refreshing for him to say, I know what my role is. My role is to put the ball in play, get on the base pass, wreak havoc to the pitcher, score some runs, carry the mail. And last night he did that exactly. So, that's the great thing. I think that's the great denominator is what Danny's bringing is that communication. All these guys know what their role is. He's got an open door policy. He makes sure every single guy knows what they're going to be doing, what their role is, if they're playing, if they're not playing. I'm not saying that other managers didn't do it, but Danny, you guys know, Danny's got a very unique way. Very calm presence about him and very knowledgeable of the organization and these young kids coming up. So he knows their strengths and weaknesses, and he's taking advantage of that and trying to put that in his best way to help that team win because inevitably that's what it's all about. Mariners got to win. So they're finding a way to do it. It's pretty awesome.
Jay, I had a teammate in college, and I remember looking in my locker room at times. I'm like, that guy is never going to coach. That guy hates football. It's just never going to happen. And sure enough, here he is 25 years later. He's coaching professionally. Like, I don't know how that happened. When you were in that clubhouse with Edgar Martinez and with Danny Wilson, did you think one day in 2025, I'm going to be on a morning radio show in Seattle. Dan Wilson's the manager. Edgar Martinez is the hitting guru. Did you foresee this as a possibility?
I didn't necessarily see them maybe together, but at some point, both of them are diehards. Both of them know the game in and out. Danny loves the game. Danny's a lifer. So is Gar. Gar sleeps and eats hitting to this day. The fact that the two of them are close together and pulling for one another, that's the fondness, and that is the close knit of the teams we have. We're all extremely close still to this day, and whenever somebody needs something, one of us is not afraid to reach out and say, hey, can you help me out? And I would say when Danny made that phone call to Gar, that was definitely stepping up and helping out. But it does not surprise me that either one of those two are doing what they're doing, just because they still love it. That's all they know. That's all they talk about. And they're both great family people, and they're able to juggle that. For some of us, it's just, golly, man, I don't know if I'd have the patience to do something like that, quite frankly.
Do you know Kevin Seitzer?
Seitzer's awesome. Yeah, he's a little pain in the ass when we played against him.
He was a really good player. It's so funny. Everyone my age,
No, man. He was a great player. He was a little rat. He played dirty. When I mean dirty, he got dirty. He always got on base. He was a hit machine. He could pick it. yeah, he was a hell of a player.
That guy replaced George Brett. Like that has to be like, right? I mean, like that's what he made George Brett move from third to first. And it's funny, they are taking on, in some ways, almost more of that personality as hitters right now than even Edgar. As great as Edgar was, I don't mean that he's not a big part of this, but it almost feels a little Seitzer-ish.
Yeah, him and Mags both have stepped right in and done a hell of a job. And it's gotten back to a little bit of small ball. And it's the unwritten rules of baseball that somehow everybody wanted to go to lift and separate and uppercut and striking out was okay. Bull crap, man. Put the ball in play and things can happen. So that's what they're all about. They're all about living hard in the middle, early in the count, hunt, always hunting fastball, hunt it. But when the count gets even and you get 2 strikes, let's try to stay hard in the middle and working the other way. And a lot of their BP preps and pregame stuff is going back to the old school unwritten rules of get them over, get them in, all that, trying to get that mentality. If you don't practice it, you lose it. So it's great to see. And these guys immediately in their clubhouse have picked up to them and are all on board on them. And it's showing with their approaches at the plate for sure.
Jay Buhner here with us. Did you feel like you could learn from Edgar when you were a player back
every
in the day? What that look like? Like, what did that really look like?
He was a silent leader. So you just watched his mannerism, watched the way he carried himself, watched the way he handled himself when he was going good or going bad, watching how hard he worked, watching what time he showed up and when he left the ballpark. Usually was the first to come and last to leave. Loved to talk baseball, loved to sit around, pull up the Diet Pepsi cooler and sit around and shoot the Chad and talk baseball. But really was basically our third hitting coach. But at that time, we only had one hitting coach, quite frankly, so he was our second hitting coach. And if you ever had a problem, you could go back to Gar, and Gar was great at seeing what was going on. And usually it was something that was small and simple. And he had a very unique way of being able to tell you just to slow it down, whether it be your hands not getting started on time or your foot not getting down in time, all those little things, which when you're struggling a little bit, and in our generation, we didn't have access to iPads and all the different things that are on the bench that are overkill. But, you had to have another set of eyes on that bench. And what better than Gar to have as your extra set of eyes to keep an eye on you and try to help you out.
Over the course of a season, Jay, when you were playing, for how much of a season would you feel hot, like locked in? For how much of a season would you feel cold, like I can't find can't hit it? And for how much would you feel in between?
Funny question. If you didn't notice, I was a career 50 hitter, baby. So when Junior was raking all year from start to finish, I always say, hey, if you think it's easy, try going up there and hitting with my swing. It didn't happen very often, but I will tell you, I could get hot for about a week or so and fill up some damage in a heartbeat. But to toot my own horn a little bit, I had a different mindset when men were in scoring position. I did a pretty darn good job of getting guys in, and that was my bread and butter. And that was a lot of studying. That was a lot of knowing the pitcher. That was a lot of going up there and basically saying, okay, I'm all in on this particular pitch or this particular location, and living and dying by the sword. Because there were a lot of times I walked back with the bat underneath my arm and people were calling me a rally killer. But, there are a bunch of times too that I was trotting around the bases or got a big base hit to drive in a couple of big runs. And that's just part of the game. That's the grind when you play 162 and 185 days or whatever. So, it's the highs and lows, but, I tell you, nowadays, hitting 250 and hitting 30 to 40 a year and driving in over 100 pays a lot of money.
Well, it's just kind of, I guess part of the reason I'm asking is, like, I'm just looking at your numbers, and I'm thinking about Jorge Polanco, a guy that last year could not hit water if he fell out of a boat. He was
hurt, though. His foundation, not to interrupt, step on your toes, but
right.
His foundation, it's all about your lower half. It's all about your knee, your rodius, man. When you don't have your legs up underneath you, it's hard as hell to hit, man. I mean, it is your balance. And when you're trying to get to that soft front side, and every time you get to that soft front side, if it's your front leg and it feels like someone's sticking a dagger in there, but you're a gamer and you know the team needs you and you want to play, and sometimes you shouldn't be out there when you know, and sometimes you try to grind through it, and really and truly you're doing the team more harm than good, but that's just part of being a gamer and wanting to earn your paycheck. And then, or if it's your back leg and now you're trying to drive off of it, I mean, it's hard. Haven't been there. And knowing what he's going through, because both my knees have had roto-rooter year after year, and that is your core. It's a bitch. And now, even though he's a little banged up, he still was able to get in his legs. You saw what kind of shape he's in when he came into spring training. He was a man-child, man. I mean, he is ready to go, and he struck lightning in the bottle early, and now he's just continuing now that momentum, and he's just like full of knowing he's going to go up there and rate, quite frankly. I mean, he's got it. That's the thing. So I think that is the biggest thing with him, is that confidence level for him, for sure.
When you get in the booth this weekend with Goldie, do you feel like your goatee kind of offsets his hair?
Well, maybe he'll wear a pinstripe in his sport coat or something. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Yeah. The great thing about it is I'm the third man in the booth, which, quite frankly, I don't know about you guys, I love that. When I'm watching baseball on TV, I love hearing three-guy booth, three people up there, because they can all kind of feed off each other and everything, and definitely takes the pressure off me. Quite frankly, being the second man would be a lot. I was a little worried about that. But and then being able to go over with my boy Rizzer and start the first couple of innings on radio, like the old days, is a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that.
You got to talk to him. Rick, you talked about playing hurt, Jay, and what it's like when your team needs you and you got to go out and play hurt. I don't know if you've heard Rick the last week. This poor guy, his throat is hurt, and he is out there gritting through it every day.
Yep.
Well, he needs to wear a helmet up there, too.
Did you see that? Did you hear that audio?
Little Chuck and Doug. I saw it and I heard it. It was hilarious. He was almost spitting chiclets up there. So, I don't think he has to worry about that in Texas coming up. That booth is so far up there. Somebody get a ball up there would be quite the chore. But, he's a true professional. Rizzer, that's why I love him to death. The organization loves him to death. The fan base loves him to death. I mean, he's been there 30-plus something years, and he paints a pretty picture. That's for sure. So I'm excited to get up there with him and Aaron and Ryan and Ange and get in there and kind of have fun and still be able to go down in the clubhouse and rub elbows with the boys and see Danny and Gar and the boys, and so I'm blessed. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I think everybody's looking forward to hearing your voice and getting you back in that mix as well. Last thing for me, and sometimes the beauty of baseball that I've learned doing this for 16 years and watching it is sometimes like the simplest things can be the most profound. And you said earlier, kind of talking about this team and back to your era, where everybody is pulling for one another. And I think the casual fan says, well, that's obvious. But I think those that have been around clubhouses, those that have been around team sports, those like myself who've been covering a sport and got kids that play, you realize like that doesn't always happen. Parents aren't always pulling for the other kids on the team, like sadly, like in this day and age. And I would think,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So, do you feel that? Did you feel that in the spring watching from afar? And how can a fan, I guess, kind of evaluate and see that when guys are truly pulling for one another?
Well, where you get a true sense of it is when you hear the guys like Cal, for instance. He goes and signs his long-term deal, and who all was there? All his boys were there, all his battery mates, all the pitching staff was in there. And then when you hear guys talk, it's always team first. Guys are always there. When you go and they're doing stuff for Fan Fest, and they did the deal down in Arizona 1 week when I was down there, and they all got up and gave a Q&A and everything, and to listen to the way they all pulled for one another and absolutely cared for one another and had the highest praise for one another, that's when it starts to show. And they've had that all along. They're very close. They get along great. They're bringing back a lot of the old school in that clubhouse, some of the things that the fans don't know, but I get an opportunity to kind of see firsthand, and this is one of the things I have no problem telling people about, is, they're bringing back the fun things like kangaroo court and things that, for a lot of years were kind of skipped over and missed, and guys were the first, got to the ballpark quick and they got the heck out of there and were showered, and I'd come down and guys would already be gone 15 minutes after the game. You're seeing these guys kind of hang around and shoot the cud more and talk baseball more, and so it's pretty special. You're exactly right. I mean, sometimes some of the teams with the superstars, the egos don't match up and they don't gel. And in this case, a lot of guys are counting on one another, and they're doing their homework, and these guys are stepping up, and the confidence is building. So it's really cool to see. But they got their hands full, man. They got a big test with Texas coming up. You know how potent they can be. Yep. And knock on wood, they're struggling offensively, and so hopefully our boys can continue to do what they do and just shut them down, because it's pretty special pitching staff, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
And
can
everybody's
be.
talked about if the offense can just step up a little bit. Well, this is kind of nice to see. I mean, can it last? Sure, why not? As long as they keep doing the little things they're doing right now and playing small ball, man, how can you not build off of that and not feed off of that and get hyped about that? So me as a fan, I'm hyped. I'm super excited to see it happen. And hopefully there's nothing better than meaningful baseball come September, man.
Nothing better than that. That we know.
Absolutely.
Hey, I don't know. I'm going to take a guess. I don't know this, but I'm going to go ahead and guess, because I don't know your relationship with Cal Raleigh. I'm going to guess you're a big fan. I just based on everything we've gotten to know of Cal here in the last few years and all we know of you, I'm going to guess that you are a pretty big Cal Raleigh guy.
He's on speed dial, put it that way.
Yeah.
What do you love about him? What is it? What is it about Cal that you connect with?
First off, he's a gamer. He's a catcher that catches every single game, does not want to get out of the lineup. He's a leader. He speaks with his bat. He's a switch hitter. He's a stud game caller, framer, throws people out. He walks the walk and talks the talk. I love his body language. It's just he's a pretty special catcher, man. You don't see guys winning platinum, gold, driving 100 catching. I mean, there were a few back in my generation with Pudge and a few, but man, nothing like this kid. And he's not afraid to kick a guy in the butt, but he's also really good about patting a guy on the back. And he controls that pitching staff. He controls that clubhouse. Takes a lot of pressure off of Danny and the coaching staff to know that things get a little bit awry. Cal's not afraid to stick a foot in it and put a stop to it. But he's a pretty quiet kid, but he sponges everything. He sees everything. So you just know day in and day out, you pencil him in, he's going to be right in the middle of that order, and somehow, some way, just a matter of time till he does some damage. So he doesn't get too high, get too low. You can't tell when he's going good or going bad. And, that's pretty special. It's pretty hard to find. He's been doing that since day one.